Man, Tyrese is going to talk about uh, how he handles grief. I wanted to make this a personal. Oh, sorry, not personal, but a very a more serious, a more serious type episode. And Tyrese is gonna he's gonna show his vulnerability um while on the Breakfast Club. Let's take a look at the clip. And by the way, I will take the time to listen to the episode because Tyrese always his actions, he is always going to be meme worthy. You know what I mean? But let's take a listen.
You deal with a lot of grief. Like I think about Brother Paul Walker, and I think about
John
Singleton, your mother,
divorce. Both of my sisters died.
Your sisters. People don't look at divorce as grief, but you did. You lose things. You probably lost a lot of friends when you went through your mental health breakdown. Are you really, 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 have you really taken the time to deal with all of that grief? Or do you just try to stay busy to avoid?
I'm doing the best I can with every 24 hours I get. That's it.
Get some tissue for me, brother.
No, I don't need no tissue. Black men cry.
That's right.
Fucking tissue.
Fair use, by the way, fair use.
24 hours I get. I'm doing the best I can. Beautiful Pain, 1992. There is no square footage I could ever live in. There is no rims, no jewelry, and no car. There is no net worth. There is no press release. There is no co-star. There is no collaboration in the world that could ever replace my mama.
Fair use, by the way, fair use.
I could ever feel the void of what it's like to wake up and get married and want to be in something for the rest of your life. And it goes away.
You're making me cry.
Get Tyrese some tissue.
I don't need no tissue.
Man, you man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I love you.
You've been holding
Do
this in
you
the whole
understand
interview,
how much
though.
power it is in letting it go?
Yeah, because you've been holding it the whole interview. I've been watching you.
You asked me the question.
I did, but I mean, I'm getting
You should have never asked the question
I love you,
if you didn't want to see
I love you, brother. I love you. I love you.
how hard it's been to get through.
I love you. I love you, black man.
Okay, do you not cry?
Absolutely.
You might not bring it to the radio,
Absolutely.
but this is what being grown
Thank
is.
you, brother.
Fair use, by the way, fair use. Oh, this is the part. Like I saw this clip go viral. This is gonna be the part of the. Come on, man. This is the part that's gonna go viral.
I'm not doing this.
I need one. My makeup gonna mess up.
Hear me.
My concealer
Hear me.
today.
Hear me. Black men cry. When divorces happen, women aren't the only one that are devastated.
Fair use, by the way, and he's gonna bring up some very important points right here. So pay attention.
When a miscarriage happens, women are not the only one that you should be checking on. When you can't put food on the table because your career goes up and then it goes down, stop calling, skipping over the man, and just checking on the woman.
You deal with a lot of grief.
Man, that's very what he did was powerful. Now, obviously, people are gonna focus on the part where he throw away the tissue. They go because I already know they go because once I saw that clip on Twitter, I'm like, oh, they finna make that. They gonna make that a meme. But what Tyrese said was very powerful. Usually when he goes on the Breakfast Club and he has his interviews, no matter what the the situation is, he always brings something interesting. He always brings something interesting every time he goes on the Breakfast Club. Anyways, grief, particularly how do I say this? You'll never really know how a man is feeling because it's not just the obvious, it can be used against him. And this is where if he's vulnerable, people can use stuff against him and people the whole thing, people could use it. People could take your kindness for weakness. And not just that when men go through something, they just ultimately know that he still has to perform no matter what he's going through. So at the end of the day, a man going through grief, there's no face for it. He's not going to show it. He's always going to have his game face, right? It's always going to be who's like the calmest. Okay, take Kawhi. You see Kawhi Leonard. You see how his face is always. It's like his face don't ever change, right? People make jokes about that, but that's the face of somebody going through grief. That's the face of men going through grief. It's Kawhi Leonard. It's just that face. A man going through grief. That's his game face. Game face always has to be activated because there's still going to be people trying to kill him, believe it or not. Believe it or not. There's still other men trying to kill him. There's still other women trying to kill him. There's other people still praying for that man's downfall, especially if you're a man that has a lot of money. If you're the man that's making the most money in a family, people still depend on you. So no matter how much money you what you're going through as a man, your game face must be on at all times. And it's just something that kind of burden that men carry, what the average man carries, most people are not empathetic enough. I'm not talking about sympathetic, empathetic enough. Most people don't have the empathy to know what that man is going through. I saw a clip the other day where it was a woman describing like how where basically you need to take your time to really check in on the men in your life, especially the ones that are taking care of everything, because every time people go to them, they're always they're asking for something, or asking the man to do something. So this is why if somebody tells a man have a good day, or oh, you look nice today, it literally means the world to him, because he's used to just being a utility. You know what I mean? So this is something that I remember the woman, she was emphasizing. So this was a very powerful moment actually in the interview, because people don't because I always say there's no face for men going through grief. And also, how about this? I'll give you this right here, because I was one of those people that was telling you, postpartum depression is a myth, right? And this is how the reason why I say that, I already made my show about that, and and people might disagree with me, but watch this. I did a show diving into postpartum depression. Do you know that men also suffer from postpartum depression? Now, I went through the Psych Central website, this is the website for psychiatric, psychology, all of that, mental health therapists. Is the main data, the main news site. It's the CNN for psychology and all this stuff. And they were talking about the myths and the facts of postpartum depression. And one of the first things that they put is that they're like, yes, men go through postpartum depression as well. Now, I bet to vet. I have a bet about this. I think most women don't know this. I because the way they describe postpartum, I was like, don't you think men go through that as well? But that gets dismissed, right? I will bet to venture that most women that talk about postpartum depression, or say that they went through postpartum, or they use it as something, or they try to use the term postpartum to their advantage, I bet you most of those women have no idea that men go through postpartum as well. And they're gonna. I'm talking about just me saying that. You're gonna see women in the comments going crazy. Probably you're probably gonna see one. It's gonna be one woman that's gonna go crazy. But according to Psych Central, yes. And like I said, when women go through miscarriages, when women lose their kids, when something happens to the kid, it's just automatically everybody just kind of goes to the mom, because she was the one that incubated the kid. And while the dad has to look strong and comfort the mom, but who's comforting the dad over the loss of his kid? That's something that we overlooked that. Including myself, I overlooked that. So that's something that, or like how about a man going through a divorce process? When a man is going through a divorce, he's literally by himself. Just to let you guys, like, he has literally nobody on his side. If a man is going through divorce, this is why we tell dudes, look, if you're gonna get married, just understand, if things go south, you're gonna be by yourself. You know what I mean? Like, for real. So when men go through something, it's something that he's just gonna have to handle by himself anyways, whether people are empathetic or sympathetic or not. So I do have to do a show. I probably do have to do a show where we talk about how do men handle grief. I do have to do a live stream one day, and diving into how men handle certain tragedy, grief, the loss of a loved one. We do have to do something like that. But shout out to Tyrese for putting a spotlight on this, because I believe I believe most therapists are ill-equipped, and they don't have the equipment to handle a male client, if a male client, how to handle a male client if he's going through tragedy, trauma, you know, grief, right? So that is my belief. So that's something that I think America has kind of, particularly the Western countries, have kind of, or just really people in general, they just kind of overlook when men go through, you know, men going through grief. You know, that is something that we do need to dive into more.